Hello, friends. Welcome to our inaugural, I guess, voyage of this little experiment we're going to do. I'm Jared, and this is my friend
Yeah, and I'm
Rold.
Roll. Yeah. And if you can't pronounce that, I typically just go by RC. It's much easier. My second name's Christopher. So Rolled Christopher. So RC works well. And it
RC.
kind of
All
goes
right,
with RC Sproul, which is one of my heroes of the faith. So I don't mind.
absolutely.
RC is also easy to remember.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. And
Yeah.
I'm Jared, and you can pronounce it Jared. That's how that works.
I think
there's
most
a
of
there's
us
a
will
Jared
get
in the
that. Yeah.
Bible, actually. We'll talk about him. So
Yes.
today, this is what we call a book overview. We're talking about Genesis. It's probably the most popular book in the whole world. And so pretty much, I would say most people have heard of Genesis. In the beginning, God created, right? Most people have read those
Mm.
words. And so we just want to tell you, what does Genesis actually say? And then, of course, in later episodes, we're going to do a deep dive into the actual chapters.
Yeah. And, I think it's not just the first book of the Bible. It's It's quintessential. Like this is one of those things that you have to start there because it forms such a huge foundation to the rest of scripture. And so it's only fitting for, I think, for us to begin at the beginning because it sets up what God is and like sin and also many other topics which we're going to get into in the future. So we can't overemphasize starting at Genesis. It's such a good space to begin. The stories are cool as well, but to form a good foundation to every other question you might have going forward, you need to start here. So instead of starting at the end and then working backwards, we're kind of going to start here, move forwards, which will help us look backwards in a sense.
Yep. Well said. So, what does Genesis tell us about?
Okay, let me get to the next slide. There we go.
So we got the creation of everything that exists, and this world and human beings specifically. We've got the reason why things have gone wrong, something that we call the fall. Then we've got some judgment from God already, right in the first few chapters. We get this I don't know, pretty massive escalation of judgment, where he drowns the entire world, but he saves
Yeah.
one family. And there's this idea of passing this promise down from generation to generation. And so, and ultimately, the book ends with this story of this single person. It goes from sort of everybody down to just this one preserved family, down to just this one select, who then like gets brought to Egypt, and then it ends on this guy named Joseph who went through a whole bunch of hurt and pain and all kinds of things, and yet there was purpose in it. There was a reason
Hmm.
for these things happening. So uh, that is what the entire book of Genesis says, and it is uh, it's one of my favorites. I think Genesis is a super fascinating read. There's all kinds of strange things that happen in it. There's a talking serpent and a flood that covers every mountain, and you go like, man, are those things really possible? Is this
Yeah.
poetry? And you go, I don't know, and then it gets to like actual real people that we know existed in history. And so you go, what kind of a book is this? Well, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah. And I think, as we go through this, we're going to do a subsequent episode on this, but there's going to be a lot of questions. There's going to be a lot of like, where does this fit in? How does this fit into the big picture? But one of the main threads that you'll start noticing right from the beginning in Genesis is obviously the gospel. And so when you talk like preservation and just judgment and mercy, the gospel is already presented right from the first few chapters. And a lot of people miss that. They're like, "Oh, these are some cool stories. Oh, wow, there's creation." And oh, they get caught up on like where did dinosaurs come in and where did they happen? But you miss
Mhm.
some of the big points. Is like the gospel, the whole thread begins at Genesis, and that's why it's for me is such a great episode, oh, great place to begin because it just shows so much and stuff we can often just overlook. So I'm excited to get into that a little bit more. But for this episode, we just wanted to give you guys a bit of a snapshot of some of what you could expect, and we're going to dive into a little bit more detail, chapter for chapter, potentially through some of these things. So we're going to suggest always take notes. Jared can tell us a little bit
Yep.
more about that now, but write down even some of the questions you have right off the bat before we even get to the next episode. If you've ever wondered, like, what about creation? What about God? Where was Jesus in all of this? What is the gospel message in Genesis? What happened to Abraham? Whatever questions you have, I would suggest like keep a journal right from the word go. Write it down, write all your questions down, write down your observations, anything like that. As you read through it, jot it down because as we go through these episodes, you will start making the connections yourself. You'll be like, oh, I just read that. Oh, we read that a couple of weeks ago and couple of chapters ago. And you'll start seeing these little light bulbs go off along the way. But something that and I think, Jared, you'll probably vouch for this. This is a slow and steady kind of chip away at, not
Mhm.
a sprint. This is not
Yeah.
something that's going to happen in a day or two. It's like, this is a lifelong journey that many people take. So get into that space of like, I'm not here to have an instant download. I wish that was possible. And
Yep.
I know God could probably do that. But for most of us, it's a journey. And
Yeah.
you might get frustrated. You might get a bit like doubtful, or you're like, when am I ever going to get this answer? But you will. It just
Yep.
takes a little bit of time.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. So join us on this journey. It's going to be fantastic, and we can't wait to see you in episode 1, Creation and the Fall.
Well, actually, remember before that, we're going to talk about well, actually, not before that. There's a little side quest. Tell us about the side quest.
Yep, our first side quest. Join us here as we discuss the question of whether it's okay to not know something.